Ever wonder how a giant company, just knows how many cans of soup or pairs of sneakers to have on the shelf at any given time? Well, it's not magic, that's for sure. It's a science called demand forecasting. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you how it really works. But first, let me ask you something that sounds like it breaks every rule in the business playbook. Why would a really smart, successful company ever choose to ignore what its customers are buying? I know it sounds completely backward, but it's actually a key part of their whole strategy. And here's the secret. They're not ignoring you, the customer, no way. They're ignoring the noise, all that random, unpredictable static that clutters up their sales data. See, the real genius is learning how to separate that noise from the true signal of what people are actually going to want. So, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the chaos that noise creates. Then, how to find that true signal. We'll open up the toolkit forecasters use, look at the high-stakes decisions they have to make, see it all in action with real-world examples, and finally, learn the critical lesson of knowing when to stop. All right, let's start with the big problem, the one that every single supply chain on Earth has to deal with. Because before you can find any solution, you have to really understand the chaos you're up against. And at the very heart of that chaos is this idea of demand noise. The best way to think about it is like static on an old radio. It's all those little blips and dips in sales that happen for totally random reasons, but they don't mean there's a real lasting change in what customers actually want. So what causes this noise? Oh man, it could be anything. Maybe one big corporate client puts in a massive one-time order, or a sudden blizzard keeps people from going to the store. A delivery truck could break down, or a 24-hour flash sale online causes a huge but temporary spike. These are all just distractions. They're not actual trends. And here's the real danger: mistaking this noise for a genuine signal. Because if a company starts reacting to every single little blip, it doesn't lead to better service. Oh no, it leads to absolute costly chaos. And that chaos, it is super expensive. You've got production lines constantly stopping and starting. Warehouses are either bursting with stuff you can't sell, or they're totally empty right when customers want something. That's what they call the bullwhip effect. Shipping and labor costs go through the roof, and at the end of the day, you, the customer, just get a worse experience. So how in the world you fight all that chaos? Well, you stop listening to the noise, and you start looking for the signal. And this is where a really disciplined approach called smoothing comes in to save the day. Smoothing is a forecasting technique that, well, it does exactly what it sounds like. Instead of trying to predict every little spike and every little dip, it just averages out the sales data from the past. The goal isn't to be perfectly right every single day. The goal is to find a stable, reliable baseline that you can actually plan your business around. Now, a good planner doesn't just have one tool for this. They have a whole toolkit. So let's look at the two most common ways they smooth out all that messy demand data. Okay, on one hand, you have the simple moving average, or SMA. Think of this as a totally democratic approach. It looks at the last few days, say the last 3, and takes a simple average. Day 1, day 2, and day 3 all get an equal vote. It's fair, but it can be kind of slow to pick up on new changes. Then you have simple exponential smoothing, or SES. This one's a bit more clever. It also looks at past data, but it doesn't treat it all equally. It gives more weight, more importance, to what happened yesterday versus what happened last week. It's basically saying the recent past is probably a better predictor of the near future, which makes it way more responsive. And deciding which of these tools to use and exactly how to set it up, well, that's not just a math exercise for some analyst in a back room. This is a high-stakes business decision that can make or break a company's bottom line. With exponential smoothing, everything really boils down to one critical number: a setting they call alpha. A low alpha, something like 0.1, gives you a very smooth forecast that's slow to react. That's perfect for something stable, like toilet paper. A high alpha, like 0.8, is the total opposite. It's super responsive and jumps on changes immediately. That's much better for volatile, trendy items. And right there, that's the fundamental trade-off. You can't have it both ways. With a low alpha, your goal is stability, but the risk is you'll be too slow to notice a real trend taking off. With a high alpha, your goal is speed, but now you risk freaking out and overreacting to all that random noise we talked about earlier. This is so important. This choice is a business policy, not just a math problem. A company picks its alpha based on really serious business questions. How unpredictable is this product? What hurts us more? running out of stock and disappointing customers, or having too much stuff sitting in a warehouse gathering dust? What promises have we made to our customers? This is pure strategy. Okay, so that's all the theory. Let's see how this stuff actually plays out in the real world. How do different kinds of companies use these tools to solve their own unique problems?
Let's start with a grocery store selling fresh bread. The challenge here is pretty clear. It goes bad fast. But luckily, demand is pretty steady day to day, so they'll probably use a simple 3-day moving average. For them, it's better to have a consistent, stable amount of bread show up every morning than to perfectly predict demand and risk being wrong. Stability over perfect accuracy.
Now let's do a complete 180 and look at an online fashion store. Here, a big influencer can post about a new dress and demand just explodes out of nowhere. They're going to use exponential smoothing with a really high alpha. Why? Because for them, speed is everything. They have to react instantly to that spike to capture all those sales before the trends disappears overnight. But, just like any tool in a toolbox, smoothing isn't the right choice for every single job. And being smart means knowing not just when to use a tool, but also when to leave it on the shelf. Look, smoothing techniques are built to manage relatively stable systems. They are absolutely the wrong tool for big, disruptive, game-changing events. You would never use smoothing to forecast the launch of a brand new product, a massive one-off promotion, or a huge market shift like a major competitor suddenly entering the scene. For those big moments, you need totally different, much more complex models. So if you were going to boil this entire thing down to just one sentence to ace your exam, this would be it. Smoothing is all about cutting down on random noise by finding that perfect balance between being responsive and being stable. And that's what makes reliable short-term planning possible in a world that's, well, relatively normal. And that leaves us with one last thought to take with you. The next time you walk into a store and you see an empty shelf, I bet you'll see it differently. You'll have to ask yourself, is that a mistake, a failure, or is it the result of a carefully planned strategy, a deliberate, calculated decision to favor stability over chasing every last chaotic sale? A choice to ignore the noise and listen only to the signal.